Hey everybody, in today's video we are going to talk about women's fitness and like essentially the right way for women over 40 to go about their fitness lifestyle, if you will. And today I have my girlfriend Tiffany with me. Also, I guess not previous client, but I guess continuous client.
Yeah.
She started working with me a year, oh gosh, almost 2 years.
2 years
It was
ago,
about August, this September.
September of 24.
Yes, okay. And we had a good probably 4 months, 3 to 4 months
Mm-hmm.
of a lot of in-person work, especially the months of like September, October, like early to
Mm-hmm.
mid-November. So we had a good like 8, 10 weeks of pretty solid meeting regularly.
Yep.
She came to me with low back pain and a lot of like low energy and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So I'm going to have her explain a little bit about that piece of her journey and some of the things that she found beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go into some of the whys, I guess, if you will. So,
Yeah, I was coming out of a bad breakup, and I found Jeff, and I just needed something to like sort of reboot my life at that point. And he helped me a lot. I did have really persistent bad low back pain, and I was thinking this is going to be really bad if I don't take care of this. So I mean, that went away really fast. That was amazing. Like,
yeah, your low back pain to
yeah, and I
go
think
away
it
within a
it
few
was
weeks,
rooted in
maybe at most.
like we did a lot of deadlifting, which was like hinging, and like that movement I think
Yeah,
was really helpful. I don't know the science behind why it
that
worked,
that
but
was that was the number one thing I was
hmm
focused. Well, the number one main big movement pattern was hinging, and I used deadlift with the hex bar mostly.
hmm
But there was a lot of like single leg stuff in there and different things. But that was the main movement pattern that I knew she needed
hmm
based off her original assessment. And then we did other stuff like windmills and
hmm
um, different types of carrying exercises that she'd never really done before,
hmm
or just hadn't done in a very long time.
yeah.
So it was a lot of very focused work,
I remember there
especially on her
was,
core, like
yeah.
deep stabilizing,
hmm
right around the spine type stuff,
yeah.
and then sides even.
I'd never been to a personal trainer before, so this was my first like foray into that. I had done like I'd gone to the gym kind of all my life, doing like the basic stuff that you think you should do, I guess. Like, and I always kind of would lose motivation, and I didn't quite like get the gains that I wanted to get. Mainly strength. And I had a moment, I guess it was like maybe 2 months after we started working together, where I was just taking the trash out, and I like took the trash out, and then there was a bunch of steps where I had to like run or like walk back up to my apartment, and I just like ran up the steps, and it was so easy, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it was like this amazing, like I had more energy and I was stronger, and that kind of like that moment like really got me bought into the idea that like, well, okay, I'll segue this in to the
I
question
do
I want
remember
to
the
ask.
trash thing.
You remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like what um so I guess that there was yeah, we were working together for about 4 months. Um, After that, um, I went to like remote, kind of working remotely a little bit with you.
yeah. I use a video app and stuff that I send programs to clients.
hmm And this was before we started dating, just so you know. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't
FYI.
date his clients.
Yes.
Just so I feel like that's important to mention.
Yeah, we probably should. Yeah, we probably should make
Yeah.
sure that that's very clear.
uh, very lots of integrity over here. So anyway, so we stopped working together formally in about, I think it was like end of December. And then I had a couple of months, and then a friend of mine was like, hey, why don't you start coming to these bar classes with me? So I went to the bar classes with her for about a month. And I remember we were getting ready to go to our friend's bachelorette party. And this weekend we went down to Texas with them. And that weekend I felt so terrible. Like I was exhausted the whole weekend. And so use that as a contrast between that and like what I told you about running up the stairs. It was a completely different feeling. And so like I I came back afterward, and I was sitting out on the, I think we were at Switchback. We were at a coffee shop near here, just chatting about things, and I told him that story, and he was like, "Oh, like there's a whole reason for that." And so I kind of want to ask, like, what is the reason for that? Is this something that women? Is this like typical to women, or is it just me? And I'm in my 40s, so like, is that a factor? And so I just kind of
Yeah.
want you to explain about all of that, because I feel like a lot of women do these like classes, bar classes, and they do all these kind of like really high aerobic things because that's what we think is going to make us thin and it's going to make us strong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I just made a video actually. One of my new series of coffee talks. I went on a little rant about one of the biggest problems in the fitness industry, which kind of correlates with this. Is a lot of people, generally men and women, will, but mostly I will say heavily on the female side, will like join classes more than anything. And there's nothing wrong with it inherently. I'm not like like trying to destroy class style fitness or something like that. There's a lot of good to it. There's community. There's many benefits. However, a lot of them, to keep these gyms in play, they have to have these massive memberships, so people get stuck in the same, like they're basically doing the same type of workout forever.
mm,
And it can be an okay thing if certain types of periodization are taken into play, but you also have to look in what place are you going to and what are they selling. You take like an Orange Theory type place, and it's like it's fine generally speaking, but you're doing a lot of the same high intensity stuff. And if you go 3-4 days a week, the average person, especially when you start a woman over 40 and starts getting in the 50s and stuff, it's like I'm not a menopause expert, but you start getting into those phases of changes hormonally and this, that, and the other. You're not 20 anymore, guy or girl, and you start like overloading your system with cortisol,
mm,
and you just constantly keep on doing these metabolic based workouts, which can, again, I'm not saying metabolic is therefore bad, but you're not really ever doing the contrast of just straight up strength training.
mm,
And the majority of humans almost at all times need to have that be their number one thing, or just straight certain types of cardio. And when you throw both together, it's fine here and there. But it's when you continuously do these hit style workouts, if you will, for a long period of time. We're now just starting to get data on this, and I'll probably do a follow up video and try to actually like connect some of those and put some links in the description, because we're actually starting to get research showing hormonal issues with women after doing like years of these types of classes. I mean, I'm a distance runner. This can be the same thing in distance running when all you do is the same type of running forever. At some point, your systems are like fried in some way, shape, or form. But we don't know about this because people will usually get hurt, stop for some other life reason, or never actually learn why they got to this point in the first place. And so maybe they just don't feel good, or they just stop because they're just kind of going, hey, I think I need to stop. Or a life change. Somebody has a baby, family, and then you just kind of stop doing it. So you never actually see the huge drop off.
mm,
And I may be saying a lot of different details, but that's one of the metabolic issues. And like you just end up screwing up hormonal systems in a lot of ways, and you end up
mm.
feeling overly tired.
And I,
I'm probably saying too much, but
yeah, no, you're not. That was what I experienced with what I said going on that bachelorette weekend. I was so tired, and I was like, I'm not that much older than these other girls. Like, I shouldn't feel like this. And I also felt sort of like bloated, like, and weird. Like, I just did not feel good. And I think that all came from this like cortisol spike that I had like thrown myself into because I was like, I went to all these bar classes in a month, and it just like wore me out.
I think of adrenaline too.
Yep.
Not that those don't correlate in a lot of ways, but
Mm-hmm.
like just in general, if you're kind of like, imagine just a normal work week, normal stresses of life, and little spikes of anxieties and different things that
Mm-hmm.
happen in your life. And every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday or something like that, you're doing this high intensity interval training. You're spiking all these like adrenaline forces, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
without getting too scientific. And here and there, that's fine, but 3-4 days a week is just too much.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend years ago that wanted me to do CrossFit while I was training for like competitively distance running and kind of like getting back into it. I was running 30 or 40 miles a week, and I was doing about 2 running workouts, which is very taxing when you start doing intervals. And he wanted me to do 2 CrossFit workouts on top of that for strength. I'm like, well, no, I need to get strength. Yeah. And he's like, well, this would build strength. And I'm like, no, like there's pieces that would get stronger because I'd be doing different moves, but you could just do that in a typical strength workout. And he was just so bent on, but you need this because that's what he did for his training, but he wasn't also doing this other thing over here. And although that seems like a random example, the point is it's just too many things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to fit a bunch of different square pegs into round holes, and then you wonder why you feel like crap.
Mm-hmm.
but you're marketed to. And they're like, again, there's nothing wrong with these things, but there's so many membership bases that people get stuck in one area or one mindset, and they're like, well, this is all I need. And there's never anything in life that's like that.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're a runner, you at some point need to strength train, do injury prevention type work. You do need to do yoga at times, probably some Pilates here and there to work on your core. And it's like, they're not all the same thing, but you might be aiming at the same goal, but you can't expect each one of them to do everything that the other one can do just because you signed up for some membership or you want to go to some class. It's like, go to the classes. It was funny. I was going to say this a few minutes ago. I was actually happy when you said you were going because I was like, oh, cool. Like, she needs to continue working on some, this will be good for our community. She needs that. But then there was an immediate, I don't want to say detraction necessarily, but it was like pretty quickly you were like, I just don't feel good. And then I was like, well, how many of the strength workouts are you doing? Like, I did one like a couple weeks ago, and it was like, it was very sporadic. And I'm like, it was kind of hard because you don't want to deter somebody from when they're already doing fitness stuff. It's like, I don't want to tell somebody no. And that's where I get stuck sometimes, because it's like you're doing things. I don't want to tell you no, but
I guess the moral
like,
is
you wanted to feel better.
Yeah, you have to listen to your body, of course.
Yes.
Like, and if something's working for you, then great. But my concern is that women, especially older, middle-aged women, like, we get a lot of peer pressure, for this kind of way of working out, which is like class-based yoga classes. I don't know if it's like you think, okay, this is the way that all the other women are doing it, so I'm going to do it this way.
Well, the 80s.
Yeah,
80s
sure,
videos.
totally.
Like,
I had one of those
started,
videos when
80s, 90s, it was big.
Yeah,
Denise Austin, woo,
yeah,
all that stuff. And, you're doing all this stuff, and it's like, that's how it started.
And it's fun, and it feels like you're doing something good, and you are, but my concern is that a lot of ladies are out here, like, shaming themselves because they're, like, not getting any benefit, or they're not keeping up with it because they're just tired. And it's like, the reason you might be tired is that your cortisol has gone way up, and that's because of the type of workout you're doing. So, like, if you want energy and strength, I was so shocked at how little it took me. Like, how little. I mean, it was 2 or 3. What did we do? 2 a week, 3 a week classes, sessions?
You only had 1 month where we did 3 a week.
Okay.
You did, I think it was like 11 or 12 sessions that month.
Right. And I'm doing like about 3 a week now. I've gone back to that. And the energy increase is crazy. And we're talking 3 hours a week. 3 hours.
And she'll run maybe a little bit, but it's not that.
I run in between.
It's not
I'm
that
not like
consistent.
A runner, but I do every once in a while. But that's not what helps me. What helps me is the strength training. And it doesn't take a lot of time. You would think, oh my gosh, I have to do this more often. I have to get up there's something like sick in my brain that's like, I need to get up at 6 o'clock every day and do a bar class, or I'm not doing,
you're not doing the right
really
thing or
doing
something.
Fitness or whatever, but
again, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just,
but if you're not doing strength, I mean, it's like I said, it's a hormonal thing. And I think that's what women are, especially women in their 40s, are not understanding, is that, like, your hormones need support. Like, you can't be like stressing out your hormones at this point in your body and expect to, like, get stronger,
And when we say strength, the last thing I'll say is, like, I mean, like, relatively to each person, like, heavy lifting. And obviously you have to start someplace. Like, she hadn't been lifting for a long time. It wasn't like I immediately had her lift like heavy weights. I gave her a foundation, but relative, like, she was deadlifting, like 80 pounds or 90 pounds. And that was a big deal for her. It was like, this isn't just taking 2 10-pound dumbbells and then doing like 40 reps in some class. Like, that's like, when I mean strength, I mean like max output type strength. At least, like, that's the aim. It's not, we're not doing that every exercise the entire time, but I just want to make sure that's clear. And I'll do a follow-up video to kind of describe the different phases of that and what women can do, especially if they kind of find themselves in the place that you were in, whether they have back pain or not, just like maybe low energy or just confused, not know what to do. So
one thing I'll say also, because we were talking about this the other day, is the variety of exercises. Like, another thing that I think I fell into was doing the same exercises over and over. I would just go to the gym 3 times a week. I would do the same exercises. I never felt like I was getting anywhere. And I think, what did you say was, like, you have to like kind of wake up your brain to try to, how did you express it? It was like
I don't remember what I exactly
doing
told you at the
different
time, but like
exercises. Yeah.
I would naturally just say that although consistency is the main thing and stuff, if you're never changing anything, at some point you just plateau and your brain literally needs new neurons, however deeply scientific you want to get to it. I don't really care. I've seen it in person a million times. And like right when you start to like actually show your body how to move differently, stuff just you kind of start getting like lighter,
Mm-hmm.
and your body starts to like wake up in a
Mm-hmm.
way because you're like, oh, I should be able to twist.
Mm-hmm.
I should be able to do this type of movement on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And even at like 45, 50 years old, 60, 70 years old, I have 70-year-old clients that do ladder drills with me
Mm-hmm.
and do little hops and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and they don't get hurt doing it.
Yeah.
It's like trying to keep the like athletic kid in you a bit
Mm-hmm.
while not going crazy.
Right.
You don't have to do like 20-minute box jump workouts and throwing weights across the room and crap like that just to feel like you're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be very specific,
Mm-hmm.
but you can have a variety so your body actually learns quite a few different movements, and it's more fun that way too.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
But
So like,
anyway,
okay, just to recap, like, what would you, if I was, okay, speaking to an audience of women who are in their 40s, let's say 40s, 50s, how would you recommend, like, what one thing would you recommend they do more often?
I just lift heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by far.
Okay.
Like you gotta like work into it a little bit, but if you've been working out consistently, just make sure you have trained eyes on you at least a couple times to understand squats, deadlifts, some barbell and like just bench press type stuff, overhead pressing,
Mm-hmm.
rotational movements with like bands and cables and stuff, and then some power stuff, med ball tosses,
Mm-hmm.
things like that, which doesn't necessarily sound like the first couple, but you need your joints to be like the tendons around your joints and stuff like that to actually get like really good tensile strength to them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to get that by doing a bunch of reps over and over again and tiring yourself out. You need
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes even 3 reps
Mm-hmm.
type of strength. Usually I stick around 4, 5, 6. And that type of strength is just something that almost nobody does once they get past a certain age, or they just don't know to do it type of thing. So there, yeah.
Why do you think that women are, why do you think that we avoid the strength training, like lifting heavy weights? Is it like, oh, that's a guy thing? Or are we
Yeah.
afraid that we're going to get bulky?
Yeah, I think it's a big spectrum. I like started with the 80s, 90s videos.
Mm-hmm.
Toning was a lot of reps and like light weights, all the way to I don't want to look like a man, or I feel like I'm just going to get bulky and I want to still be feminine but be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think ultimately that comes down to, okay, what do you really want? What are you okay with? There's a lot of examples now. You can look up women all over the place and be like,
Mm-hmm.
do I want to look like kind of like this person
Mm-hmm.
or that person, and then aim that direction, but trying not to get too much. I mean, if you're like trying to be a bodybuilder, some aesthetics is where you're going. But I mean, you can look amazing lifting heavy. You just don't want to do that 12 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So you do need to like cycle through some stuff. But that's the number one thing people are missing generally.
Yeah.
And I think I think women are fearing that they will get too big.
Mm-hmm.
Like distance runners have this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys and girls, they just think they're going to get bulky by lifting heavy, and it's like it's all more of a neuromuscular thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to lift like 4 to 6 days a week, have like way more protein than the average person ever has. Like you have to like time things. It's a whole thing. Like
Yeah.
almost nobody will gain more than a few pounds of muscle
Mm-hmm.
by doing this
Mm-hmm.
consistently for a few months. It's like there's a very small percentage of people that have that issue, and then you just change it if that's you. But almost nobody out of those people, especially women, like you don't have as much testosterone as men.
Right.
So it's just the likelihood that you gain like 15 pounds of like muscle
Yeah.
and you start feeling like cut and ripped is pretty minimal.
Uh-huh.
You have to be doing that for years.
Right.
And dense workouts,
Mm-hmm.
like crazy dense workouts.
Like you have to aim at that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible for most people to get that point without aiming at it.
So the real benefits of it are more strength, energy,
Mm-hmm.
bone health.
Yeah, bone health
like
is a
that.
huge one.
Mm-hmm.
You just feel more like athletic and like mobile.
Balance,
like you feel very like
yeah.
you have the ability to do more things than you used to.
Mm-hmm.
You feel a little bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody wants that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you want to say anything else?
No.
All
Thanks
right.
for listening. And I will do follow-up videos of this and we'll go from there.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.